everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network. We come to you on Sunday. Remember, we'll come to you later tonight after the Giants play the Sunday night game against the Chiefs. It has been a crazy day in the National Football League. A crazy day. If you wagered on the Rams, I hope there are no sharp instruments. Um, the Jet game was crazy. Anytime you see games decided by blocked field goals, run back for touchdowns, or possibly decided that way, uh, you have to be, sometimes the games, the way they bounce, the way the ball bounces in the NFL is just absolutely nuts. All right, a couple of things here. First, let me get the stuff out of the way. Number one, the Mike Francesa newsletter. Sign up for the free Mike Francesa newsletter. You'll get exclusive content, contests, a bunch of goodies. Go to MikeFrancesAPodcast.com and sign up. And again, it's absolutely free. Bet Rivers Football Squares. We tell you about them all the time. Players who place a qualifying single game, a parlay of at least $10 on any eligible NFL or NCAA football game will receive one standard entry into the weekly Squares game. You can get two, you get three, you can get four. Winning standard squares will be awarded at $20 for a bonus bet. See app and website for more details. Now, I waited for Aaron Glenn because I wanted to see what his reaction was going to be to a comeback, one that was clearly aided by a banged up, I think tired. It was very hot on the field today, and a Tampa team that has a habit of doing this, especially against bad teams, letting down with big leads. How he was going to react that his team had to lead after their comeback and spit it out again. And he reacted the way I didn't want him to react. First of all, I don't need Aaron Glenn. I'm going to tell Aaron Glenn something right here, okay? And I haven't been hard on Aaron Glenn. I've said nothing negative about him this year. And I'm willing to give him time. But I don't need a cheerleader on the sideline. I don't need one of these coaches who runs up and down with his team like he's still playing. You're not playing anymore. Use your brain. You're there to coach. You're not playing. So I don't need you jumping around and running up and down the sideline when your team finally makes a play. That is a coach who doesn't know what the hell he's doing. That's not a coach. I want the guy who's there thinking about the next play. And the folks who asked him if he's going for two, you're not going for two when one gives you the lead in the final minutes of the fourth quarter. You're not risking a tie game there. I'm sorry. You're not protecting yourself against the field goal. That's a loser's mentality. The idea is get the lead, get a stop. Get the lead, make a defensive play. That's the idea. That's what the game is supposed to be about. Not protect yourself against them going to definitely score. I don't have a problem you thinking that they can score, but you cannot play that way. You play for the lead in the final 3 minutes of a game and then try to get a stop, get a sack, get a turnover, make a play, knock a ball down. Of course, the Jets didn't do that. Why? Because they're losers. That's why they didn't do it. And he doesn't like the same old Jets, except they are the same old Jets. They're 0-3 again. Was I impressed by their comeback? Not particularly. It was a disjointed, ho-hum, Tampa were going to win the game comeback. And it was that way until the Jets made a play. And they blocked the field goal and they ran it back for a touchdown, which happens about 1% of the time in the NFL, which if you're going to count on, is not going to help you very much in the long run. Yes, we saw two of them in about 20 seconds. You're not going to see a whole lot of them for the season. That's not how you're going to win games, is blocking field goals and running them back for touchdowns. It doesn't happen very often. Check the number of field goals. Check how many times it happens in a season. All right, you saw two of them. You saw one decided game, which was rather bizarre. I'm sure the Rams are still comatose on their flight. They're probably not on their flight yet, but they'll be on their flight in about an hour or so. And when they get on there, they'll probably be like, did we lose that game? Well, they did. Okay. I don't know how they did, but they did. Now, did you see some good things from the Jets today? Listen, I picked the Jets today for one reason or two reasons. One, because I think Tampa is a bad team with a big margin, and you were getting 7 points. Two, because I like Tyrod Taylor, I always have. Tyrod Taylor has an awareness. You saw that. You can knock him down, he'll get up. He'll stand in there, he'll make a throw. He'll make a play. He'll use his legs, he'll use his head, he'll use his arm. He's not a great player. He's a good backup quarterback and he's a veteran. He knows how to move a team. And that's what he did today. So am I surprised that he almost engineered a backdoor cover that almost turned into a win? No. But let's take this game from where the Jets, voila, after being dead on their feet, are not only back in the game, they are in front. They make the big play, which is very hard to make. Block it, run it back for a touchdown. Now, it's hard to block it clean in this league the way the rules are set up now. It's got to bounce the right way for you to run it back for a touchdown. It did. They get to score. They take the lead. Now, if you're not the same old Jets anymore, if you're going to be someone that's developing, Aaron Glenn said he likes the way his team is moving. Oh, yeah? They're 0-3. If they had then made a stop, if they had put Baker Mayfield on his behind, if they had not allowed him to run down the field, if they had not allowed Irving to run down the field, if they had not allowed Iwabuka to catch the ball down the sideline, and I thought he might have caught the second one. I couldn't tell. I didn't get a definitive replay. He might not have. It was close. I also didn't think Lazard caught the ball in the end zone. I thought that was kind of iffy too. But hey, sometimes you get a break. Okay, a lot of things bounce the Jets' way there for a couple of minutes. But if they're not the same old Jets, they get a stop. It's legal. We forget that part. Oh, the Jets came back. They came from behind. They showed life. They covered the point spread, but they still lost. Oh, I like my team. I like where they're headed. We're not the same old Jets. How do you sit there at 0-3 and tell me you're not the same old Jets? What the hell are you? The new version? The new 0-3 version. The idea in this league is to win games. The idea is to win. The same guy said, "Oh, there's no more victories." Except I like the way we played today. I know I'm building something. What are you building? You're playing with a backup quarterback who's an old man. Okay, your team was down 23-6. What are you building? And they committed 4 million penalties because their offensive line was on the sideline today. Otherwise, Baker Mayfield would have cut you to ribbons. Evans left the game. Their offensive line's on the sideline. They had not. How many did they have? 10 holding calls in the game? They might have. They had 6 in the first half. They had at least 13, 14 penalties, and they got a kick block for a touchdown. So that means they gave you at least they gave you a touchdown on a freaky play, and they gave you a touchdown on the penalties. Because 100 yards of penalties is a touchdown. And they gave you 120 yards of penalties. Or more. I didn't even look at the final tally. It might have been more than 120. Now, Taylor made a bad play before the half. He telegraphed the pass. He was not going to score. He telegraphed the pass. And he gives up a pick six, which broke the game open. That was a terrible play on his part. Otherwise, I thought he hung in. He did what Tyrod Taylor does. He hurts you with his legs. I mean, he ran the ball a lot today. Uh, Let me see how many times he ran. He ran it a lot. Um, I mean, a lot more than I thought. He ran the ball 8 for 48, which is a lot more than I thought he would. He was 26 to 36 for 197. He got sacked 4 times. He handled the blitz well. Todd Bowles is gonna blitz. He gets off the bus blitzing. We know that. They didn't handle the blitz at all in the second quarter. They handled the blitz much better in the second half. But I thought Tampa, and I look at games when they break, and I thought Tampa was number 1, typical Tampa, they're not great with a lead against, especially against bad teams. Number 2, it was very hot on the field. I think they thought the game was over. Let the Jets back in the game. The Jets got back in the game in a kind of a odd way, 23-30. Hey, boom, they could play now. They're back in the game. They're still down 6. Todd's thinking, should I go 4th and 1 and end the game right there? Which he could have done with Irving. He could have ended the game right there. Or let me kick the field goal and go up 9, and I'll win the game that way. And they block it and take it back for a touchdown. Okay? The Jets never got a stop when they needed a stop. Never. When Baker Mayfield needed to get them down the field and score, he did. When he had it at 26-20, get him down the field, he did like that. When he had to get him down the field at the end of the game, he did like that. Okay? That's where it's the same old Jets. Because you're winning, and what do? You give it up again. When they stop giving away opportunities for victory and turning them into a high percentage, or at least a better than even percentage of wins, then they will no longer be the same old Jets. Until then, you've got a hell of a nerve to say they're not the same old Jets. And let's be honest, nobody is buying into it. And if you think, I don't care the goodwill, I don't care that you were a good player, I don't care any of that. I don't care where you coached before, none of that matters. If you think you're going to stand here at 0-5 or 1-6 and say, "Oh, I see that we've turned it around. We're a different team." Things are gonna get very ugly very quick. This town's not gonna take that. You're 0-3. You play the Dolphins next week in Florida. If you're 0-3, that's a must win. You have some sitting ducks on the schedule. The Cowboys are coming in soon. Their defense stinks. It's beat up to a pulp. You can win that game. Then you play Denver, but then comes Carolina. You can win that game. There's winnable games. There's already been winnable games on this schedule. You haven't won any of them. That's why you're the same old Jets. You're 0-3. And until that changes, none of this matters. What'd you like today? Winning with Tyrod Taylor? He's not your future. Did you like the way you ran the ball today? The hell you did. Think you moved the ball up and down the field today? You didn't. You had drops. You had a couple of freaky plays. I still don't even know if Lazard caught that ball in the end zone. A couple of balls bounced your way. You were in the game, and you had a lead. And then you lose it and have the nerve to say we're not the same old Jets anymore. In whose book? Now, to me, the season for the Jets is firmly on the line. If the Jets want anybody in this town to take them the least bit seriously, okay, then next week beat the Dolphins. The Jets are playing the Dolphins next week on Monday night. I thought it was Monday night. I just wanted to check. Then the next week, I'm pretty sure Dallas comes in. Dallas comes in. 1 o'clock. Then I think after that is Denver. Then after that is Carolina. Let's put Denver aside for a second. The next 2 weeks, Dolphins road, Cowboys home. If you can't get this team to 2 and 3, lose the attitude, lose the try and selling us that you're no longer same old Jets, lose all the nonsense. Because what you'll be is a guy who's going to go through another long losing season, and the Jet fans got it up to here. They're sick of it. You can't sell it. So don't try. Even though you want to run up and down the sideline, even though you want to try and sell us that this is a different team and you've transformed it. Transformed it to what? A new, more energetic 0-3 team with an old backup quarterback? Give me a break. Now, a couple things. I wasn't going to get into baseball, but a couple things that I wanted to mention. I didn't get to the Yankees yet. I know they exploded in the 10th. Game's not over yet. I don't know if Tampa held on. Let me see if they did. Hold on. They did. They won. Okay. So if the Yankees hold on and win this game, which is a good win, one of their better wins because 1-1, 10th inning. Usually the Yankees have lost that game. When they've got a well pitched game against them, they lose all year. They've won. They're going to win that game today. So now the Yankees have 6 games left. We know they're going to the postseason. And one or two things are going to happen. If Boston wipes out the Blue Jays next couple of days, the Yankees can win the division. If the Blue Jays wipe out the Boston the next couple of days, then there's no way the Yankees aren't going to be the number one team, and they're probably going to be anyway with the wild card. They're going to be the number one wild card. Okay. To win the division now, they got to be 3 games better than Toronto with 6 games to play. That's going to be hard to do with 6 games to play. Right now it's 2, but it's really 3 because they had the tiebreaker. So, but the Yankees are going to the playoffs on roller skates. We know that. They're going into the playoffs playing well. Their bullpen's going to be a big problem. They have some other issues, but we'll worry about that later. They're going to be in the postseason. They're going to get home playoff games. We know that. They're probably not going to win this division, as I've told you all along. I still don't think they're going to. Now, I would have said they were done if they lost today and Toronto won, but they didn't. They're going to win. Now the Mets. If you listen to me through the years, you know my feelings about Francona. I am not the least bit surprised that he has rallied the Reds here. He is one of the great managers in the history of modern baseball. Yes, he's a favorite of mine, but he also is one of the great managers. And are you surprised that when the Reds a couple of weeks ago fell 2 games under 500, that he rallied this team back where if they hold on today in the 9th inning and sweep the Cubs, they're going to be 4 games over 500 and they control their destiny in the last week of the season against the Mets. So the Mets have now yielded with this fall, which is starting to look very much like 2007. This collapse of colossal size, this gutless shrinking from the Mets. And there's nothing else. There's no other way to describe this. This has been a total collapse. They can't even beat the Nationals. You got the Nationals making circus catches, jumping over fences, and they're doing it just to beat them. That's all. To play spoiler. And you can't even win games at home against mediocre opponents. The Mets can still right this ship. Now, Cincinnati has a quirky thing in that they play Pittsburgh the next couple of days, and Pittsburgh's got pitching, you know that. Then they play Milwaukee. Now, Milwaukee most likely is most likely going to have locked things up to the point where they have everything. They have a 3-game lead and the only thing left, which is home field, the number 1 seed, which means Milwaukee the last couple of days will start to put their lineup in, but you're not gonna see their pitching for more. Even if they see it, you're gonna see it for a couple of innings just to get guys tooled for their starts off their bye. They will not be under any motivation to win those games. All they wanna do is rest the guys who need rest, play the guys who they wanna tune up, and get ready. So the Reds have a good, comfortable week, and they're hot coming off the Cubs series, especially if they finish up today's game, which they have a 1-0 lead in the ninth. The Mets have fallen completely apart. Now they have yielded command of their own destiny. This, considering what's gone on this year, considering the money that's been put into the franchise, considering the move that Stearns went out and made, considering the way the owner demanded that the fans support his product, and the fans responded in incredible numbers. The Met attendance has skyrocketed. They have been the story of the year attendance-wise in baseball. You Met fans have supported this team incredibly, and what you have got for it is completely a gutless performance down the stretch from this team. There is no other word for it. The Mets can right this ship. They still can. They're dead even for the last spot. Dead even. They don't control their destiny. Cincinnati has the tiebreaker. If Cincinnati wins today, and I'm going on the premise here in the ninth inning that they'll hold on, but I don't know that. So I should wait for this game to be over, but I'm not going to. So right now, in the ninth, it's over. So the Reds now are 80 and 76. They have moved 4 games over 500. The Mets are 80 and 76. The Reds have the tiebreaker. The Mets are now technically behind. And here's the question. Can this franchise, can these players, led by Juan Soto and Lindor, and what should be a very potent lineup, and yes, relying on kid pitchers and a manager who's had a tough time down the stretch, can they right this ship? Or will this be remembered in Met annals as one of the really painful collapses of which we have seen plenty? This is unbelievable what the Mets have done here. And they've done it while the fans have filled their stadium, while their owner has done his part, and the general manager went out and made moves that, let's be honest, bullpen moves he made, everybody lauded. So we all have to admit, I didn't see anybody saying, "Oh, what did he do?" Now, somebody might have wanted a bigger player than Mullins, who's been a disappointment, but it has been the collapse of their bullpen, and it has been the gamble of their starting pitching, which has completely unraveled. But it has also been a lineup that has been inconsistent and has not at any point had the toughness and the cohesiveness and the magic that the Met team had last year. It has failed in those categories all year, even though Soto has played so well, and he has. But you know what? I don't care about his stolen base numbers. You can take those and you can park them. I don't care if he's got one steal or 150 steals. That stolen bases. Tell me when you steal them. You stealing bases, up and down 6 runs. You know what? I wouldn't even count them. Has he hit in the clutch lately? Much better. Has he put up big power numbers? Enormous. This is not about Soto. This is about the collective team from the organization and their structure and their plan, right through the manager who has had a very tough time, right through every member of that team. And they have failed miserably. But it's not over. Let's see some guts these last 6 games. Let's see some toughness these last 6 games. Or it's going to be a long, cold winter. And it's going to be quite interesting to see exactly how your very rich, very spoiled owner acts as his team chokes and chokes enormously on the biggest stage there is. There's no other way to describe it. We'll see you later.